25 years in prison. That is the sentence a court hands down to a man French investigators accuse of helping run a wave of crypto kidnappings. 6 weeks later, the French government stands in front of the crypto industry and reads out a number. In the first half of 2026 alone, France logged 77 crypto kidnappings and extortions. More than the whole of the previous year, in half the time. Both of those things are true, and this film is about why. It starts with what investigators say about the man who was sentenced. He was not in France for either kidnapping they accuse him of. When Moroccan police finally search him, they do not find a hostage. They do not find a ransom note. According to their own statement, they find bladed weapons, a stack of cash, and dozens of mobile phones. Not one phone, dozens. Because in this business, the phone is the weapon. Someone else drives. Someone else opens the door. Someone else goes to prison. Call it a structure with 3 floors, and so far, almost everyone France arrests lives on the bottom one. By the end of this, you will hear the rest of what France read out that summer, and the question it leaves behind. If the man they took is already serving 25 years, who is holding the phone now? To understand what those phones were for, you have to go back 10 months, to the case that put his name at the front of a French investigation. January 21st, 2025. Vierzon, in the Cher, before dawn. Armed men enter the home of David Balland, co-founder of Ledger, the French company whose hardware wallets guard billions in cryptocurrency. They take him. They also take his partner. According to the gendarmerie's own account, the two are separated immediately and driven to different locations. Not one hostage in one place. 2 people, 2 locations, 1 crew coordinating both. Hours later, the kidnappers contact another of Ledger's co-founders, reportedly Eric Larchevêque, and demand a ransom in cryptocurrency. To prove they mean it, they have severed one of Balland's fingers and filmed it. The price? 10 million euros. What comes next is one of the largest hostage mobilizations in recent French memory. Prosecutors in Bourges open a kidnapping investigation. The research section of Bourges takes the lead, then hands it to Junalco, the national jurisdiction for organized crime. 50 gendarmes deploy in the Cher within hours. 15 cyber investigators from the National Cyber Unit join them, then 90 operators from the GINN, then the Forensic Institute, then air sections from 2 bases. More than 230 gendarmes in total. That figure comes from the Deputy Director of Operations himself, General Frédéric Bonneval, speaking at the press conference 2 nights later. Against all of that, the crew has one advantage. They separated the couple on purpose. Whatever the GIGN finds when it moves, it can only be half a rescue. If you want more investigations like this one, the like button is 30 seconds of your time for 10 minutes of ours. The break does not come from the tactical unit. It comes from an arrest. Investigators pick up one man, and that arrest gives them what all that manpower could not. The sector where David Balland is being held, Châteauroux. On the afternoon of January 22nd, the GIGN goes in. 2 kidnappers are arrested inside. Balland is alive, wounded, roughly 24 hours after he was taken. His partner is not in the building. A 4th arrest follows overnight. She is found the next day, tied up, in the trunk of a car in the Essonne department south of Paris, alive. In under 3 days, both hostages are out, and 10 suspects are in custody. 9 men and 1 woman, aged 20 to 40. The charges include kidnapping by an organized gang, acts of torture, and armed extortion. Part of the 10 million euro ransom was actually paid during the negotiation, but the public prosecutor later states that almost all of the cryptocurrency was traced, frozen, and seized. 10 arrests, the money back. On paper, this is exactly what a solved case looks like. Look at who is in the handcuffs, though. Foot soldiers, hired hands. Every one of them is a pair of hands. And in Interpol's system, something has been waiting quietly since 2023. A red notice, issued at France's request, before the Balland kidnapping happened at all. For a man French investigators believe stands above crews like this one, which is why the arrests do not stop what comes next. May 14th, 2025, Paris, 11th arrondissement, in broad daylight. Masked men jump out of a van and grab a young woman on the street. She is the daughter of Pierre Noizat, chief executive of the French crypto exchange Paymium. She is 5 months pregnant, walking with her partner and their child. She fights. Her partner fights. A shop owner runs out swinging a fire extinguisher, and the attackers leave with nothing. French media counted as at least the 5th attack on crypto figures in France since 2023. So the pattern is now impossible to miss. The men grabbing people off French streets keep getting caught, and the orders keep coming anyway. Investigators believe they know why. The person placing them is not in France. In February 2026, French journalists obtained the contents of a confidential police intelligence memo from Cirasco, the unit that tracks organized crime. It does not describe a spree, it describes a business. Top floor, organizers, coordinating from outside France. Middle floor, intermediaries inside the country, the recruiters. Bottom floor, the hired hands, typically under 30, the memo says, most with prior records for theft, violence, or drug trafficking. The memo counts roughly 40 organized kidnapping cases between July 2023 and the end of 2025. More than half of them targeted people who hold or work in crypto. By the way, most of the people watching this are not subscribed. If a documentary about a kidnapping business run by remote control is your kind of story, you know where the button is. Then there is the question of how the victims were chosen, and the police answer is uncomfortable. In the memo's own words, victims freely flaunt their luxurious lifestyles and their crypto-derived wealth on platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. 2 months later, in April 2026, prosecutors show how deep the bottom floor really goes. 88 suspects charged across 12 separate investigations. The street crews, 16 to 23 years old, 6 of them minors. According to prosecutors in one of those cases, recruits were found on Telegram by a handler using the alias Hermano, brother. Investigators describe the arrangement plainly. A recruit gets a message, a price, and an address, while the person allegedly giving the orders never sets foot in the country. Kidnapping, run like a delivery app, with the same protection for whoever owns the app. And French police have a working theory about one of the names on the top floor. It is the name on that red notice from 2023. Finding him takes 4 months from the morning and share. Getting him is going to be a different problem entirely. His name is Badis Mohamed Amide Bajou, born in Le Chesnay, just outside Paris, in December 2000. On the morning David Balland lost a finger, he was 24 years old. June 4, 2025, Tangier, northern Morocco. Officers of Morocco's National Judicial Police, working with the country's domestic intelligence service, move in on Badis Bajou. And this is where those phones finally make sense. According to the Moroccan police statement, what he has on him reads like an inventory of the business. Multiple bladed weapons, a sum of cash they link to criminal activity, and dozens of mobile phones and communication devices. French investigators allege that Bajou is one of the organizers of the Balland kidnapping, and they link him to the attempt on Pierre Noizat's family. French officials publicly thank Morocco for the arrest. And then France runs into a wall it cannot climb. Bajou holds 2 passports. He is French, born just outside Paris. He is also Moroccan. And Moroccan law does not extradite Moroccan citizens. Not for kidnapping, not for torture, not for anyone. There is no trick here, no clever lawyer, no loophole he injected. The shield is structural. It existed before he was born, and Moroccan law does the rest. France can send files, investigators, requests. It can watch the case from the other side of the Mediterranean. What it can never do is put Badis Bajou in a French courtroom, which leaves exactly one country able to try him. And in a Tangier courtroom, the man accused of running kidnappings by telephone has a story of his own to tell. At trial in Tangier, Bajou denies everything. All of it. Every single charge. His account. He left France, settled in Morocco, and spent his time working on his grandfather's farm. The accusations, he says, come from false statements by a cousin, a family feud, not a criminal empire. Investigators say the messages seized from him tell a different story. The court weighs a charge sheet that includes forming a criminal group, kidnapping, unlawful detention with torture for ransom, attempted premeditated murder, illegal possession of firearms, and drug trafficking. May 21, 2026. The Tangier Court of Appeal sentences Badis Bajou to 25 years in prison and orders him to pay 1 million dirhams, about $110,000, to each identified victim. That is the sentence from the beginning of this film. A name, a face, and 25 years, attached to the top floor of the business. which makes what happens 6 weeks later the whole point. We put case developments like this one on our Telegram, FaceX Pro. The link is below, and it is usually days ahead of anything we can post here. June 30th, 2026. France's Interior Minister, Laurent Nunez, stands in front of the French crypto industry and reads out the mid-year figures. 77 crypto-related kidnapping and extortion cases in the first 6 months of 2026. All of 2025, the year of Balland, the year of the street attack in Paris, produced 45. 12 months, 45 cases. 6 months, 77. The arrest in Tangier did not slow the wave down. France passed the whole of 2025's total before the year was half over. Around 200 people arrested, and a new national security plan aimed. 33 of them are in France. A blockchain security firm counts 52 physical attacks on crypto holders worldwide in that same half year. 33 of them are in France. They took the man on the top floor. The numbers say the business kept trading without him. So this is the question the case leaves behind. Can any country actually stop a crime wave when the people running it live beyond its reach? Legally untouchable, one encrypted message away from anybody's front door. Tell us what you think in the comments. If this investigation earned it, hit like and subscribe. That is what puts the next one in front of you. And if you want to see what happens when the man giving the orders is in the room, when a crypto investor was held and tortured for 17 days in a Manhattan townhouse, that investigation is on your screen right now.